The rain fell in sheets the day we buried Lloyd. The gray clouds pressed low, mirroring the weight of grief on my shoulders. After 42 years of marriage, a heart attack stole him from me in an instant. At 67, I thought I knew everything about my husband, his habits, his dreams. We lived modestly in our small house on the outskirts of New Braunfels, Texas. But fate had other plans. A week after the funeral, I sat in the office of Benjamin Thiel, Lloyd's attorney, a man I didn't know existed. His office smelled of old books and coffee. "Mrs. Haxton," he began, "your husband left a will you didn't know about." "A will?" I asked, confused. "We have almost nothing. The house, some savings." Benjamin handed me a photograph of a grand estate with white columns and cypress trees. "Cypress Grove," he said, "valued at $72 million. Lloyd bought it 5 years ago, paid in full. Now it's yours." I was stunned. Why had Lloyd kept this secret? At home, I found his old notebook. An entry from 12 years ago read, "Started Project CR. Virginia will never know. A surprise for our old age. CR Cypress Grove." He'd planned it for our 45th anniversary. I visited the estate, a colonial mansion with marble floors and a spiral staircase. In the master bedroom, I found a letter from Lloyd. "My dear Ginny, I'm sorry for keeping Cypress Grove a secret. I wanted to surprise you for our 45th anniversary. I worked extra projects, invested every dollar, for us to enjoy our old age here. It's yours now. I've always loved you, Lloyd." I cried, overwhelmed by his love and the burden of his secret. Back home, my son Garrett and his wife Willow visited. Married just a month before Lloyd's death, they'd grown distant. Willow, an accountant with sharp eyes, seemed too curious about my finances. "Lloyd's inheritance was modest, right?" she probed. I deflected, sensing her greed. I'd overheard her at Lloyd's wake, scheming about hidden assets, on a phone call, dismissing my longevity. I decided to keep Cypress Grove a secret, especially from her. I lived a double life, visiting the estate secretly while maintaining my modest widow facade. I hired Otis, a quiet gardener, to maintain the grounds. He promised discretion. But Willow grew bolder, rummaging through my papers when she thought I wasn't looking. One day, a neighbor called. Someone matching Willow's description was snooping around Cypress Grove, asking questions. My anxiety spiked when I found my study disturbed, Lloyd's financial records missing. Then Otis reported footprints near the estate's fence and a cloth caught on barbed wire. I hired Mariah Koo, my lawyer, who recommended a private investigator, Bivens. He uncovered Willow's past as Willow Price, involved in petty fraud and a suspicious will alteration at her old firm, Higgins and Associates. She'd changed her name after the scandal. Garrett, under Willow's influence, grew distant, pushing me to sell the house or move in with them. At a tense dinner, Willow suggested I was impressionable and unfit to manage finances. I confronted them, but they hinted at knowing about the estate, threatening a lawsuit to claim Garrett's share. Bivens found more. Willow and Garrett were drowning in debt. Credit cards, mortgages, loans for lavish purchases. She'd hired a shady investigator, Rayner, to track me and dig into Lloyd's accounts. Worse, she'd met with a lawyer, Palmer Wolfe, known for dubious cases, planning to contest Lloyd's will by claiming I was mentally unfit. I met Garrett alone. He admitted Willow found estate papers and pushed the lawsuit, believing it was justice. I revealed her past, but he defended her, storming out, convinced I'd betrayed him. Willow later confronted me, threatening to prove my dementia in court unless I shared the estate. I refused, vowing to fight. Mariah prepared a defense, medical reports proving my competency, testimonies from friends, and evidence of Willow's illegal acts, breaking into my home and estate. At a heated meeting with Garrett, Willow, and Wolfe, Mariah presented our evidence, including Willow's forged will from her past. Garrett, shocked, began to doubt her. Willow fled, enraged. Days later, Garrett visited alone, admitting he'd found Willow's hidden documents, a birth certificate, name change papers, and a non-disclosure agreement from the Dunford case. He dropped the lawsuit and filed for divorce, realizing her manipulation. I confirmed he remained my heir, but with conditions to protect my control. I moved to Cypress Grove permanently, selling the old house. I found peace there, starting a charity and hosting community events. A final letter from Lloyd, tucked in a book, urged me to live fully. "You're stronger than me, Ginny. Live life to the fullest. I'm always with you." Though my bond with Garrett remained strained, I embraced my new life, free from manipulation, grounded in my strength, and honoring Lloyd's love in the home he built for us.